One of the best platforms for growing your business in the B2B world is LinkedIn. Everybody's there. You've got everybody basically in your market on that platform. But how do you get in front of them? How are you going to be able to be effective and separate from all of the mass of others trying to spam people and it's nasty? How do you rise above? Well, guess what? Donald Kelly knows how to do that. This guy is an expert. He is a LinkedIn top voice. He knows exactly how to do it. He does it every day. He gets his clients to do it every day. And if you want to separate on LinkedIn, check this episode out. He walks you through actionable, specific steps that you can take on LinkedIn to start generating leads and business right now. You'll love this.
Welcome to Scale Your SaaS, the podcast that gives you proven techniques and formulas for boosting your revenue and achieving your dream exit. Brought to you by a guy who's done just that multiple times. Here is your host, Matt Wolach.
Hello and welcome to Scale Your SaaS. I am super excited that you've joined us. This is going to be a lot of fun today. And what we do here is we help you understand how to grow your company. So you got to grow some leads. You got to get some leads. Yes, we're going to help you with that. You want to know how to close those leads. You want to know how to scale a team that can do that for you. All of those things we deliver. And what we do is we bring the best in the world who have done this and has shown some amazing process. We bring them in front of you, ping them, ask them questions so that they can share their experience and their knowledge with you. If you want those things, definitely subscribe right now. That way you're going to be able to get all of the best updates and insights into the best things that are happening in the world of SaaS now. And one of those experts, I'm so excited that he's with us. This guy knows his stuff. He's been doing it for a while. We can learn a lot from him. I've got Donald Kelly with me. Donald, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Oh my goodness, Matt. Thank you. I'm getting so pumped and excited to be here, man.
Oh, dude, I love your energy. So awesome. And Donald's somebody I look up to. This guy is an expert. Let me tell you who Donald is. So he is the founder at the Sales Evangelist, and he is the Chief Sales Evangelist. What he does, he oversees business development strategies for small to mid-sized organizations. He conducts workshops, keynote presentations, designs sales processes, and more to make sure that sales individuals and executives achieve outstanding results. He also has his own show, the Sales Evangelist podcast. This thing's been running more than 10 years. He has had some amazing topics on there, so definitely go check that out. But Donald, thanks for being on the show.
Dang, bro. I like that intro. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for having me. And when you say all those things, I started thinking about 10 years. It's craziness.
It goes by quick. This show's 4 years old, and it feels like just the blink of an eye. So I totally get it. But tell me, what's been going on with you lately? What's been happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, the biggest thing here is we've been camping out on LinkedIn a lot, spending a lot of time there, business-wise, creating more content and doing a lot more things, and probably would dabble in some of that stuff today. And family-wise, we're just, we're out here cooking with hot chicken grease, man. The family's doing well, my wife, kid, and I, and enjoying in South Florida before we get into the blistering, sweltering swamp heat. But it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you say cooking with hot grease. There you go, South Florida. That feels like basically your body's cooking in hot grease in the middle of the summer. But I totally relate because I'm in Arizona, but it's a dry heat, goodness. Right? So that's good stuff. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Matt. If you're anything like me, you check your website analytics and you see people coming to your site, but you have no idea who they are or what they're doing. Plus, why aren't they converting into leads? That's why I now use Leadfeeder. This thing is slick. Leadfeeder is a tool that shows me which companies are coming to my site, plus which pages they visited and in which order. So I can see their interest level just by what they're doing. You can use it too. You can track your site visitors' behavior and integrate the data from Leadfeeder with your CRM that helps make your lead generation efforts more targeted. The result, website traffic converts to sales. Click the link in the description and go to leadfeeder.com for a free demo and get a free extended premium trial when you let the rep know that you heard Leadfeeder through the Scale Your SaaS podcast. Finally know who's visiting your site with Leadfeeder. Do it. And we're back. You mentioned LinkedIn. I definitely want to talk about that in a second, but I want to go even further back. What gave you the idea to start the Sales Evangelist? Where'd that come from?
Yeah. So in college, I read a book, or I was supposed to read a book in an entrepreneur class by Guy Kawasaki. And we had to look up his bio. And Guy was Apple's chief evangelist back in the 90s. And when I first heard that, I was thinking, man, evangelist. The only time I ever heard that term was like in church. But this guy took it and married it with marketing, with business. I'm like, that's brilliant, because it gave me this rich vividry, a visual. Like I'm thinking of this guy like going out on the rooftops or in a corner or to companies or everywhere and talking about Apple. And he was a big passionate about that with Woz and Jobs back then. And so fast forward, I got into one of my first gig in a tech space, in a technology aspect, not necessarily software at the time. And I went to this networking event, Matt, and everyone there was was talking about their roles, account executive, blah, blah, blah. You get it. Then one guy, it came to me, and I just had the Apple iPad number 2 at that point. And I was like, this is boring. I came to the first one and it was kind of lame. Second time, I just had it in my head to stand up and say, I'm the technology evangelist. Our company went to the rooftop, the mountaintop, and came back with the latest and greatest ideas of how to help your organization when it comes to tech. Bro, after that conversation, that networking event, like so many people came up and started talking to me. So it germinated this idea in my head and started thinking about it. So fast forward when I got into software sales, and I went through some trainings and enablement, and I was just like taking off and just cooking really well, like doing really good as a rep. And I was always talking about what was working for me. And one of my friends was like, you should consider a podcast. And he was like, man, you're like an evangelist for sales. And then I said, well, I was a technology evangelist at one point, and it just hit right there. And it was a formation for what became the Sales Evangelist, a brand, and that identity that kind of came from that. Like just thinking about that visually, like we are evangelizing what we're seeing work for sales professionals. Because so many of us, especially back then, think about 10, 15 years ago, like 20 years ago, for instance, like you didn't have like a collective community where you can go to besides maybe a blog, but really didn't have that community. So we wanted to share what was working and to help so many sales professionals who get into a world where they don't have that guidance, that process, kind of like what you talk and teach on, like what's going to help them be successful besides the gift of gab garbage. So anyways, we started evangelizing what's been working, and it's been a journey since, and that's where it led to where we are. So we're the sales evangelists. Nothing to do with religion, just like we're just evangelists. Just evangelizing. I
think it's fantastic. And I think it's so important because sales doesn't have the best reputation. And, if people, they never want to say at a cocktail party, like, I'm in sales. They would much rather say, oh, I'm an account executive at this thing or whatever. And it's so sad because it's so great. We literally are helping people make their lives better. If you think of what we do, it is a really good thing, but there's just this bad kind of view of sales and what we're doing, right? It's kind of sad.
It is. And it happened to me. His name was Adam. I came back home to work in South Florida. I went to high school here, one of the prestigious schools downtown, Dreyfus School of the Arts. And it's an art school, but it was like a private school. It's a public school, but it was amazing. Great experience. And what happened was I remember traveling the country, doing these debate tournaments with some of these kids, and some of them just went off and became lawyers and all this stuff. So I came back home and I saw Adam downtown, and I was like, Adam, how you doing, man? And he's like, oh my goodness, so good to see you. I was like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm in sales, really excited. I should have seen the look on his face, Matt. It was kind of like, holy moly, like you, okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm a district attorney with the city or whatever it was. And I was like, oh man. So then seeing Adam's face, I remember the location was on the Clematis and I can't remember, Banyan or not Banyan, whatever the cross street was. But I remember that location though. And I remember that feeling like, should I be excited for this? This was again like when I first started in sales. Like, should I be excited for this? Did I go lower than my capability? Should I have gone into law? But I knew I wanted to do business, and specifically like marketing and sales. So, anyways, after this, and after I started going, becoming more, I got over that hump, Matt, and got past the whole Adam issue. And then I started realizing the lives that we were changing. And go back to what you're saying, I didn't have a limit in my income, and I'm sure at one point I started making more money than Adam, as my career went on. But the impact, though, like how can I can have a pivotal role in helping adjust and change companies with our solutions that we're offering. And as I came to realize how critical we were, and not just like, order taker, but we were a consultant, so to speak, or these industry authority leaders. And as I fell into that, and I got into my lane, and I feel that so many of us, especially starting off, and so many that have a bad look on sales, get into this Adam experience and get a distaste. So Adam,
it's too bad.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you have that story, because it's so true. And it is funny that good salespeople are making 2 or 3 times as much as a lawyer. So, but you're a lawyer. Like, it has that kind of aura around it. It's, you're a salesperson. That's all you do. And it's like, what? Come on. So I'm glad that you are out there evangelizing our industry, because I think it does need some good PR out there. But I want to ask you, because you talked about LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is an amazing channel if people use it right. It's a terrible channel if people use it wrong. Like, maybe that's where some of this bad connotation came from, all those LinkedIn spammy messages we get. So tell me, why can LinkedIn be a really good channel for building business?
It's a gathering spot. It's where everyone that we want to get to, and this is a good and a bad about it. It's everyone that we want to get in contact with as B2B sellers. That's where they go to hang out. Or if they don't, they have it. And here's where LinkedIn started to make, you started to have that good juju from LinkedIn. Obviously, they're owned by Microsoft right now. And LinkedIn has been getting into the zeitgeist. If you've watched TV shows, I remember I was watching a show the other day, and my wife, and all of a sudden the person was losing their job. It was a Christmas time, sorry. And it was an Eddie Murphy movie on, I think it was on Amazon, and he lost his job, and his wife said, "Do you need to go update your LinkedIn profile?" And when she saw that, I was like, holy crap, LinkedIn is really officially like there. It is in the zeitgeist for exactly what that is. So here's what I want to go back to. They're even if they're not active on the platform, they're present. At HubSpot's event last year, Inbound, their CEO was on stage, and she said this in her keynote speaking. She was talking about search and how people are searching, changing their behaviors when it comes to like traditional going to search on, Google for information. 44% of executives, 44% of executives said that they discovered new solutions via social. Now, the majority of that place where they're hanging out is a platform such as LinkedIn. But now, if we know this is a goal, so that's the first top level, like the top area. Why is it so great? Is because of that. Now, the bad part of that is because they're there. So everyone figure if they're there, it's like I can, shoot a fish in a barrel. Like I'm going to be successful. And yes, maybe that was the case at 20 years ago when you first got on LinkedIn. However, that's not the case right now. And because of that, we saw people over the years went through the automation and the spamming, and we're still seeing some of that, but we need to make sure we adjust it. So why does it work? And everything I'm teaching, everything I'm sharing with you is stuff that I do, and anyone could challenge me on it because I do it and I make money off of it. It's my money-making platform. And to full disclosure, I do, LinkedIn is, because I've done this and evangelized so much on the platform, I'm an influencer with them. But beyond that, I just want to be aware that this is not LinkedIn speaking, it's DK. But what I typically do is, I down here in South Florida, there's a community called Wellington. If anybody's familiar with the equestrian community, it's like, this is where you go trick-or-treating, like as a kid. They have money and it's amazing.
Full-size candy bars.
Full-size candy bar community. Everybody has one of them in their town. So What I typically would do, just visualize this here for a minute. You go to Wellington. I'm going to the house because that's where people hang out, quote unquote LinkedIn. But I'm going there and I'm going to the houses where the lights are on because I don't want to waste my time. I have like 2-3 hours of trick-or-treating time for them to get home for my mom come and, call me or something. So if this is the case, you got to maximize it. People go on LinkedIn and they go to Wellington, so to speak, and they're going and knocking on every single door. And they're saying, well, it sucks because nobody is giving us a full-size candy bar. Well, none of those people are home. But how do you figure out if people are home if they're engaged on LinkedIn and potentially those people who are willing to discover things of 44%? And if I go too fast, hit me to slow down. But I love it, dude.
I'm eating it up.
So what I typically do, I tell people you can do this the manual way or you can do it with Navigator. The manual way is I go find watering holes on LinkedIn. So if I'm selling to, CMOs, I'm going to go to like platforms like HubSpot or maybe like Marketo or some of these places where the people may hang out to get content or information, those communities. And therefore, I'm going to engage on those posts and see if I find my ICPs. Those are the people that quote unquote lights are on. They're active on LinkedIn. They're sharing their comments or engaging on pieces of information that's relevant. Now, the easier way, that's very manual. The easier way is I go to Navigator, and what I do is I search for people, in my case, for VPs of sales and VPs of, sales directors and CROs that may be active on a platform. And sometimes I look at people who've changed job roles. So if you can filter if somebody's posted on a platform in the past 30 days. That's money right there, because now you can create engaging content. So I'm going to the houses where the lights are on, that are more than likely to buy, quote unquote, and that people that are posting and engaging on the platform. And this is where most people make the mistakes. They do the dumb connection requests. And I did a poll on this, and there's different camps going on right now, but I'm going to put my stake in this, my line in the sand and tell you what side I'm on. I'm firmly planted my flag on the side of personalized connection requests. And here's why. LinkedIn, they're the overlords, right? But LinkedIn started charging right now for people for a personalized connection request. I mean, do you feel that that's just a dumb feature and that's why they're just going to charge for it? Or do they have data that you don't have and I don't have that indicate that increases a high chance of engagement or connection back? So, I mean, that's the first thing. So if they're charging for it, there must be a reason behind it. They're not doing it out of silliness. So that's one area. But the other side to that too is that it's more personalized. Now I'm not talking about a personalized pitch. I'm talking about personalized connection request that makes people more engaged or apt to connect back with you. And if somebody has a personalized connection request to you and willing to connect back to you, it increases the odds of that person doing further engagement with you. That's my theory, and those are the things why I stick to this side of the sand. And plus, it's way cooler. So what I do, if I see that you did a post, I'm not going to do something dumb like, hey, Matt, I see that we have mutual connections together. Let's connect on LinkedIn. That's dumb. I ignore that. But if you came to me, if I saw you posted something really dope with like Rob Jepson and an episode that was really cool about, how leaders are, 5 times more likely to succeed if they do blank, I might say, Matt, the idea, I love that topic that you just shared with Rob Jepson. Totally agree with that. But do you feel that applies to all type businesses? P.S. Permission to connect here on LinkedIn. You're going to more than likely respond because 2 things. You've been taught since you were a kid when someone asks you a question to engage back with them. And this is something that you already like. It's not a trickery. I'm really sincerely curious about that because this is a post that you just had. And the fact that that comes around obviously makes that engagement so much better. You're more than likely to accept that connection request. You're more than likely to respond to me. And then when you do, I'm going to drop you a video. I'm going to say, Matt, all right, I am taking you up on that. I'm going to try it. He said it works with any size company. Look forward to giving you back my feedback. Have a good one, man. Happy Saturday. You're going to respond to me. And I just grabbed your attention, and then we started engagement. I'm going to stop there for a sec.
No, it's gold. I love it. And you're doing things that nobody else is doing, right? That's why it's successful and just going from backwards first. So the video, like how many times do you get a personalized video from somebody who's sending over, hey, a quick thanks? And I talk to my clients about this, like you want to differentiate because there's so much glut in the market right now. Do a personalized video. You do not have to spend a lot of time. What you just said is perfect. It was like 8 seconds. Great. The fact that it was personalized is a differentiator totally. And I absolutely love it. And you talk about, I want to ask you a question because you talk about that personal connection after seeing their post. Do you also like and comment on the post so that they see your name come up in notifications? I've done that as well, and I've seen that help.
100%. I skipped that step, but it's a critical, and I probably would use that question in that because you and I are content creators, and maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but I have an ego, and that ego is going to tell me that when I post something, I want a human being to like it. There's no one in this world that puts something on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok and say, I hope nobody likes it. I hope nobody comments on it. Like, I want you to see the freaking vacation that we just went on to like Disney Springs or whatever with the family. Like, I want you to see that stuff, like, right? I want to get that liking, that validation, and I'm just being straight up with you. That's why we do it. Facebook cracked the code. But now think about this on LinkedIn. If I go post something and have the guts to post something from my peers, I want my peers to give me an engagement or human beings to say, that was great stuff. I enjoyed that. Never thought about that strategy before, Donald. And engage with me. I'm going to jump on that comment right off the bat, and I'm going to respond to that comment. So it's the same concept. Think about human behavior. If you can understand psychology, you can be successful in sales and any art of business, but specifically with this example. So I would comment on it, not just say something dumb like, great post, Matt. It's like, all right, you wasted my time. Let me delete that comment. But if you said something like, you even if you posted like, not even that, you just posted, I'm launching a podcast, or just launched our new show, or I'm thinking about bringing on some guests. Who do you recommend? I would say, Matt, you definitely should check out blah, blah, blah. They're going to be great. Or check out this person. They're going to be great. And then you're going to take that to be, take it to be great. You're going to see the impressions go up, 2,000 people, 2,000 impression, yippee, and you feel good. But I'm not just manipulating it, but I'm using what works. Like, what's going to grab your attention? I need to break through the noise and grab that attention. And a personalized message with, something, a personalized post, a comment on that post with engagement makes so much more sense. And here's the other part with that. It's fascinating too. I don't know about if you do this on Reels, but I do it too. I'll watch the Reels, and more than likely, more people will come back and they'll start to say, man, I should have came to the comment first because the Reel was so engaging or funny. Or the comments down below, it's like its own, own content, and people start engaging. And the same idea, if somebody engages, have a thoughtful engagement on a post or a comment, and you and that person starts going back and forth a discussion about it, people will come back on that, and that increases the idea of the exposure of that piece of content. So in any ways, like all of that stuff just makes sense. So if you can say, yeah, it's going to, I know the leaders on this, some of them probably rose in their eyes and said, Donald, this isn't scalable. But like you think about this, we can go back and we can do what's worked before in the past, like in 1990s and early 2000s, and blast idea. Or we can come back and do focus accounts. And I think most people have that concept: focus accounts, focus approach, targeted approach, and do that at a higher velocity in a tactical way. And we can see that we can increase get the same amount of those books appointments that are held. And I can go back and finish up the second half in a second and tell you what I do after that. But anyways.
Yeah, I love it. And I totally agree, especially depending on your price point. If you have a solid price point, spending that kind of time is not only smart, but you've got to. I mean, if you're doing the mass blast, spray and pray, and you're at a higher price point, you're wasting your time. And you're probably going to turn someone off who could have been a great potential customer for you. So I totally agree that personalized method is fantastic.
Yeah, and you're 100% there. If I'm $10 item, let's just get some ads going. That's the case.
Yeah.
But so the whole premise with this, though, if I can find that I engage with you, it increases the odds of anything else that come back when it comes to a relevant outreach. And that's where we focus our clients on. Our word for last year and this year has been relevancy. We want it. I've just adopted it. And I saw what happened with my own behavior on my team. I'm an executive assistant. Like when we're going through my emails, I first delete all the people that I don't know. Like straight up, I'll go through and I look, if I don't know you and it sounds like a pitch, delete, I'll quick scam it. But I need to get those out of the way first, the weeds, so I can get back to the Matts of the world and read your email and prep for the podcast, or to, respond to a client or whatnot. Or to my friend who said, we're going golfing this weekend. I want to get to those. But I need to get rid of the garbage first. But if that's the case, and if you do, and what if somebody does reach out to me, it has to be, and it's a salesperson. I do answer some of those emails, but 90% of them is just like, we can get you leads. But what I do is I look and see how relevant it is to me. And 99% of the time, people don't necessarily do something that's relevant to me per se. They do something that's relevant to their pipeline. One more time for the folks in the back. 99% of the time, people are doing stuff that's relevant to their pipeline and not necessarily relevant to me. So relevant to the pipeline is like, you're my ICP. I can pitch you and share something with you. You can come into my pipe, as opposed to you have a challenge. You're the type of people that I serve, and I see there's a relevant problem. So like, say, for instance, if you're posting that you're hiring, or if if I see your company hiring, for instance, and obviously we're in the sales components as well, and you're SMB, I might look at you and say, all right, their team's growing. They probably have a founder-led model, or they probably have some kind of, a model that can be adjusted to be scaled. Can I go ahead and reach out to them and share something? And if I could share relevant information based on the other clients that we serve, that leads to a much more richer conversation with the email. So I don't pitch on LinkedIn. Now that I grabbed your attention, I take the party over and I start a conversation on another platform that multi-thread. So my email now to you will be something like, tested the model. And then I might say, hey, Matt, tested a model that you and Rob Jepson talked about. Speaking about that, SMB, I noticed that you guys are hiring and growing. Out of curiosity, do you guys currently have an enablement system and set up in place, or have you open to looking at, work with outside partners? But you're probably going to respond to me at least and give me a yes or no, because that's how that question is designed, that email.
For sure.
And because of the engagement that we already had, and I bridged that gap with email, you're going to respond to it. And I've had clients that didn't respond to that email, but they went back to LinkedIn and had the conversation there and, connected back to me. Got your email, Donald. Yeah, it's something we look at. Let's set up a time and talk. And you owe me that, because at least, or you feel like you owe me that. You don't owe me anything, because we've had engagement before on the platform. And especially if you're multi-threading and you have 2 or 3 individuals in an organization that you can start having this dialogue with, it makes it so much more easier for those conversations to germinate and to turn into ops.
Totally agree. I mean, it's such a good strategy. We've used it on our side. You said you get a lot of your business from LinkedIn. We get about 75% of our business from LinkedIn. It's amazing when you do it right, how well it works. And it's awesome to hear your process and how structured that is. That's really something that people can take away. So I wish we could talk for hours on this, by the way, but unfortunately we got to wrap it up. So what advice would you give to software leaders who are like, okay, I want to be able to use this platform better? What would you share with them, Donald?
Simplify it for your team. There's 3 things that they should be doing: connect, share, and engage. Connect, share, and engage. And what I mean by this is connect with their ICP. Most people, if they do an audit right now and looked at how many people they're connected to, probably say like 1,000 people. And of those 1,000, how many of them are their ICP? Maybe they have like, maybe people could buy from them 10, 20%. I feel that should be at a 50% mark. When you think about a platform like LinkedIn, I'm going to connect with the Adams of the world and my colleagues and so forth and college friends. But it'll be absolutely amazing if 50% of the people that are on the platform could potentially buy from me. So daily, I encourage people to reach out to their ICPs, even if they're not necessarily on their focus account. Can we make sure we have more of those people? 44% of executives said they discover things through solutions, through content platforms like LinkedIn. So if this is a case again, then can I share more content? And even a brand new SDR on your team knows more about an industry oftentimes or about a product than maybe the top tier executive in an organization. And what I mean by that is like an executive may not necessarily know everything about a CRM, but they may know how to run a Fortune 500 company. Well, I know enough from the product training and the things that we've had, the case studies and the practice about, and to know enough about CRMs that it can help me to have more of an effective dialogue. And I could probably answer some of the questions that they potentially could have. So sharing content, and what I tell them to look at is in a disco or in that early conversation that you're having, what are some of the talking points that you usually have? Those are the talking points, the objections that you get, the questions. Those make the richest LinkedIn posts, and you can answer questions. I don't feel that we're not big enough for a CRM. That would be a great LinkedIn post right there. Somebody could, even a junior SDR could answer that question. So they're connecting with their ICP. They're sharing content once a week. And if they don't know what to share, go steal a post and recurate it. Love this awesome podcast episode by Adam. By Matt today. I'm giving you a new name, Matt. By Matt. He shared some insights around this stuff that I feel every leader, sales, and marketing can take advantage of. Curious to hear your thoughts. But share and then engage. Whenever you have a post, anyone who likes it, engage with those individuals. And then also engage on other people's content. If your sales team can do those 3 things on LinkedIn, they're going to see an uptick in their visibility, and they're going to see an uptick in their opportunity to have more conversations and book appointments.
I love it. That's a great model. Connect, share, engage. I think that's something that can really help us take off. This has been awesome, Donald. You are the man. It's clear that you are an expert at this, and I love your energy. How can our audience get in touch with you and learn more?
Come on, you know what I'm going to tell them. Let's go to LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. You can find me on LinkedIn. Tell me that you heard me here on this podcast with Matt. And you can also go home to theSalesEvangelist.com. We do have content there, 1,800 episodes and some other stuff as well. And you can download a free, some ideas that we have for LinkedIn at the bottom of our page. So, yeah. Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that into the show notes. So if you're listening, go check it out there. But Donald, this has been fantastic. Thanks for being here and telling us all this.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. And I would tell all of your listeners, too, that sometimes we don't do this you might tell them to do this, but they probably don't do it. But when a stranger come in and tell you, like, your neighbor parent tell your kids stuff, and they're like, this is great. It's like, I've been telling you that for 3 years. But guys, go out and share this podcast. Take the link and share it with one other person, another leader that you know, this wealth of knowledge every single episode. I've been able to go back and check out the pod, and it's amazing. So please, please, please help Matt and get the word out about it. It's dope. So
you heard the man. Definitely dope. Thank you so much. And please share that. That would be really helpful for us, but also you'll be helping others share the amazing knowledge of Donald Kelly. So Donald, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And everybody out there, thank you very much for being here. We will see you next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Scale Your SaaS. For more help on finding great leads and closing more deals, go to mattwolach.com.